There is a video that I did which got a lot of dislikes. Actually, this is the only video that got dislikes. And I think I have two reasons that I'm figuring out why. I think one reason is because I did on that video talk about who I think is being let go with the Department of Education. Now, just because I'm permanent doesn't mean I find this topic interesting or I find excitement in it. I don't. But you have to understand something. I know people, somewhere, my relatives, who've been on permanent posts with the Department of Education. So I'm familiar with this. Maybe it was that I talked about it, and here's how I actually got interested in this topic. I overheard teachers talking about it, and I had not seen the news or anything like that. And I was wondering, how is it possible for the Department of Education to let go of teachers? Because in my existence, I've never heard of teachers being let go just like that, just because the department decided to wanted to shed people and it let go. So I went to the news and checked, knowing very well that it is very difficult for the Department of Education to get rid of teachers. So I went to the news and I checked what was the news saying. When I got to the news said it was temporal teachers. Now, in my experience, painful experience, because I'm telling you, friends I've had on temporal teachers, or at the time, by the way, I wished I was in their situation. Friends or who were on temporal teachers whose contracts were not renewed, and family members and just acquaintances, people that I knew and heard of. Now, the difference here is that the Department of Education actually announced that they were going to do this in the Western Cape. They were, what is the word I'm looking for? They were transparent about it. In other provinces that I know of and have people who were actually let go there and their contracts not renewed, the provinces made the decisions, didn't renew the contracts, and that was the end of it. They didn't get to plead publicly. If the unions fought, they fought privately, but they didn't get to plead publicly and have their stories covered in the news. That is the difference. But in my experience, as I say, I've seen that it is possible for the Department of Education to decide that they will not renew the contract workers, based on what they call the need and the budget and all these other conditions that they have. So I think that's one of the reasons that the video got dislikes. I'm not complaining. I'm just commenting on it. The second reason is because I did talk about bonds, buying houses. Guys, this one, you can dislike all you want. I will not sit here, make a video and tell kids who are coming, there are kids who are going to get jobs at 22 and they're going to be on, some of these kids are going to be on those temporal posts, because remember, those temporal posts have been around. They've been around for a very long time. They've been around since before you and some of these people had their degrees. They've been around. They will continue being around. Some of the temporal posts are actually called when you it's a post on another post, like when somebody, what do they call them, when the post is actually for a promotional post but they hire someone to close the gap at the meantime or something like that. I don't know, they've named these things, and I'm telling you, they will have these posts in the future, and there's no ways that I'm going to sit here and tell kids to go take bonds on contractual jobs. Remember, a bond is a long-term commitment. You're committing that you're going to pay over a very long time. So now if I tell kids, hey, take bonds, it's fine, I can't say that, guys. I cannot say that. So I will say it, and I'm going to repeat it on this video as well. You cannot be on a temporal post and that be your income, only income, and walk into a bank and take a bond. You're playing Russian roulette. Literally. So, okay. But what I will say is, I am a rural mouse. So these city things, sometimes they go over my head. So I do not know, in the cities, maybe it's the way of life to take bonds when you have a contract. Especially the department's contracts. Most of these contracts are just 1 year, if I remember correctly, based on some of the friends and family members that I were in the department. excuse me, but I truly, completely apologize. I apologize and I apologize, but I will not apologize for saying I do not agree with the concept of buying houses on a bond when you or me have a contract that is terminatable. The employer can just decide to terminate it. Maybe some people didn't know this, that the employer can decide based on their budget, based on their needs. For if they say no, we have enough teachers now, we don't need temporal teachers, yes, the temporal teachers are the first people that would be absorbed permanently, but that still doesn't obligate the Department of Education to hire. If they say they don't need to hire, they can terminate the contracts. That's why they are contracts, because they are not committing to hiring on a long-term basis. And I'm going to repeat this, I will not sit here and say it's okay to buy bonds on a temporal post. I will not sit here and say it's okay to buy cars on credit on a temporal post. That is playing Russian roulette. Maybe you know somebody who was on a temporal post, they bought a house until they paid for it, and they were temporal until they finished the house, until they finished their car. But you want to go play Russian roulette with your life? Fine. But don't expect me to sit here and say it's not Russian roulette, because it is Russian roulette. It's gambling. I apologize for my tone. I don't know why I get all angry sounding. I'm not angry. I'm just commenting. Okay, now I'm gonna go.